Mr. Chairman, Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor and a privilege for me to be here in this great hall, but a particularly special honor to speak after a big brother from Africa, His Excellency, the President of Botswana. A little over 20 years ago, I was a graduate student in development economics, and one of the favorite topics of my professor was the contrast between Botswana with diamonds and Sierra Leone with diamonds. One country, as the President has explained, investing in the future, the other country mining for today's consumption. Less than 20 years after I graduated, the very diamonds we had in Sierra Leone became the fuel for war. So for me, this charter is very important. And so when I was approached by some, Paul Collier and others, to be here, I said it is a duty to my people to be here and be part of this. And I applaud those who have put it together, that it has come at the right time. To quote Lane and Tornell, as the President said, many things have been written, but Lane and Tornell said, and I quote, "A windfall coming from a times of trade improvement or a discovery of natural resources can lead to a feeding frenzy in which competing factions fight for natural resource rents and end up inefficiently exhausting the public good," end of quote. This may be true for many of our developing countries with natural resources, particularly those of us in Africa. However, others observe that natural resources affect economic growth through both positive and negative channels. What matters most in terms of economic development is what countries do with their natural resources. And I think that's what we were hearing from His Excellency the President and also the Norwegian minister. They made a choice as a people, as a country, to use their natural resources for the benefit of all and for the future of all. So again, this charter begins to set some moral standards of how, in fact, we should help and guide poorer countries that are resource-rich to manage and harness their natural capital. Excellencies, the Norwegian minister talked about Ghana, our potentially newest oil exporting country in West Africa. So allow me to talk about a little bit about the Gulf of Guinea. I asked the authors and you, the Norwegian government and others, can the Gulf of Guinea be perhaps one of our test case regions where this charter can be applied? Why do I say this? Sierra Leone, last year, poorest country in the world, lowest on the Human Development Index. Next to it, Guinea, with 30 to 40% of the world's bauxite. Next to that as well, Liberia, with one of the largest deposits of iron ore. Three very resource-rich countries, three of the most fragile countries, democracies in the world, and happen to be the poorest. But take the rest of us in West Africa, whether it's Congo, whether it's Angola, very rich in natural resources. In fact, our brothers in Nigeria are now the 5th largest supplier of oil to the United States and to many other economies as well. This region, for me, is a microcosm of some of the things this charter wants to prevent, and I hope that we can use it as a test case. From oil and gas to today, coltan for mobile phones, still pulled out of Congo and other places illegally. There's a lot of still illegal lumber felling in the Congo forest with heavy environmental impacts. But let me tell you about another problem, which we're involved in: UNIDO, FAO, UNDP, JEF, and UNEP, illegal fishing. And that's why, again, this charter becomes important. In a number of countries, there's seasonality in fishing, and the laws are strict. You fish at this time, you fish with this kind of net, with this kind of methodology, and you allow replenishment of resources. In our part of the world, the Gulf of Guinea, when the seasonality changes in other places, the trawlers come in. They come in and fish with every bad standard you can find anywhere in the world. Nobody checks. You know, I was a minister before, and I remember sitting in cabinet and we were talking about getting a radar system to track the ships that are coming in illegally to fish in our waters. And I jokingly said, so when you know them, what are you going to do? You have no navy. I link this. This is supposed to be a renewable resource. But in the Gulf of Guinea, over 150 million people depend on that fish for nutrition, for livelihood and wealth creation. So you go from minerals to timber to fish. This is an area where everything is done wrong, done illegally. Let us be careful that, yes, these fishermen do not become the next pirates after Somalia. Let us be careful that with the mining practices in this region, that in fact, we don't in fact make them poorer than they were before. We cannot say we don't know what is going on in Congo, what is going on, what had happened in Sierra Leone. This charter must be given life, must be given foot, and the time is now. Today, yes, we're rethinking business practices because of the global financial crisis. That's why I like this charter. You are reminding the world, as we fix that, and as we grow, as we become wealthy again, let's not go back to the whole habits of making the poor poorer. For me, this charter is very welcome. So those of you who put it together, the timing is very right. As we rethink everything, you know, I hear the corporates talking about business process reengineering. So yes, let's throw in some new global ethics and global standards as how we treat the poor. Why is this also relevant? Today, I'm involved in debates. I was privileged to be in the G8 Environment Ministers meeting. Next week, I may be in the MEF meeting. The following period, I'll be in the G8 Energy Ministers meeting. The Italians have already invited me. And I say to them, as I listen to the debates, I say, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking again about a new Green Deal. Let us remember that the last industrial revolution and the current one we enjoy left out 2.5 billion people living below $2 a day. That industrial revolution as well made us more carbon dependent, but also 1.6 billion living without energy, like in the Delta region of Nigeria. Will we help these countries that have these resources also develop, also be part of the prosperity of the world, and also be part of globalization? Will this new deal, this new Green Deal, will it in fact lock in our old consumption patterns? Will it lock in our old labor, energy-intensive production systems?